Yes, call this meeting to order. Roll call, Commissioner Mullins. Aye. Commissioner Wilkins, present. Commissioner Gallagher. Here. The reason I did that was Linda's been to the dentist. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sir.
Most holy and glorious Lord God, the great architect of the universe, we come to you. We say thank you for all the wonderful and many blessings that you've given us. We pray that you will watch over us and give us the strength to do what is right in your eyes. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Consent agenda is minutes of 2 weeks ago. There was no meeting last week. Monthly report from the treasurer, recorder, collector, and auditor have, it says Clyde Wakefield. I'm going to call him Kenny Wakefield. And appointment order from Linda, about Linda Freeman from Prosecuting Attorney. Upgrade of geodatabase from the assessor. Motion?
Motion to move to approve.
And second that motion.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Bid opening for printer scanners. Linda, how many do you have?
4.
Got 4. Of course, we want to open them publicly. And they'll be displayed on the front table up here. If anybody wants to see them.
If you need help, I'll be glad to help more.
Stand up so people can see you. These will not be acted upon today. They will be reviewed by auditor and the clerk to make sure that they comply to all the regulations. And then, I don't know, maybe next week the decision will be made on them. This is for the recorder of deeds office. Jay, you want to talk about what that is?
That is replacing a scanner that we've had since 2007 or 8, and it's a one that the software is not being compatible with the new systems that are coming up. So we can't even use we can't put a new computer with it because it's not going to talk to you in the computer that has the old. So that's really what the problem is, and we can't. What we have to do is physically go into the vault, pick out plats and surveys, and then hand put it through the scanner rather than just do it
Okay.
On the scanner.
Do you anticipate this being on this year's budget or next year's budget?
This year's.
This year's budget.
Yeah, it's in the.
Of course, we don't know the dollar figure yet, but
Right. Should be around between 10 and 12 is what we're looking at.
okay. Now, are all the bids open? Does anyone want to come up and see the bids, anything like that?
This here. Yeah, yeah.
Come on, you're welcome to take pictures, whatever. Please don't alter them in any manner. Just look them over and take any picture you wish. Give you a minute or two for that, and then we'll move on. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll move ahead and approval of operator job bid. Road and Bridge first.
Yeah, Clay Copel with Road and Bridge. In the early summer, we had one of our employees retire, one of our long-term employees that had been with us for many, many years, who was a heavy equipment operator for us, a title of operator. And we are just to the point to where we want to fill that position from within our ranks. Per the union contract, we post this position at our facility, and employees can sign it to upgrade to the operator. And our top bidder, our high seniority bidder, was Ryan Mackley, and we would like to begin just to explain just a little bit, when someone signs a new bid for a new position, for a different position within Road and Bridge, they have a 30-day qualifying period per the union contract. And we would like to begin his 30-day qualifying period now, which will be his training, his acclimation to the position. And then at the end of that time, John Gross and myself will determine if he is in fact qualified and ready to take on that position.
And if I understand right, he has 30 days to make up his mind if that's
He
what he
does.
wants to do.
He has 30 days, and at the end of that 30 days, if he wants to decline it, he can go back to his original position, start all over, go with the next man on the list. But we would like to, we posted this a couple weeks ago. Of course, there wasn't a meeting last week, so we're a couple weeks behind. But we would like to begin his qualifying period. And we've been utilizing him in this capacity for the last couple weeks anyway. But we would like to start that today, and upon his completion of that, award him the bid.
Now, this is motor grader, backhoe, excavator,
Yes,
And
a high lift,
high lift.
front end loader. If we would need this person to be utilized in one of our mowers and one of our tractors, they would. The pull paver, the drag box that we have, the roller, any heavy equipment that we have, this person would need to be trained and be able to fill in anywhere that we need.
and what job will he be leaving?
He is currently the welder, our welder, jackhammer, powder, welder, it's all combined as one job. And that's the position he'll be leaving. Now, it will not be an increase in pay, it's a lateral transfer from what his pay grade is now to what it will be. Now, should he accept this and be awarded this position, then the welder position will go next on.
Or the normal progression?
Right. Now, we've held this off for a few months, just to save a little money and just to, we could do that. We don't delete positions, but we can just wait upon the commission's approval to fill them.
Okay.
On the recommendation of the barn superintendent, I would move that we approve the operator bid.
And I'd second that motion.
Questions, comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
IT is, by the way, Jared's grandfather died. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. But Dwayne's gonna talk about request to reject the order.
My name is Dwayne Linney, I'm the IT supervisor. At this time, we reviewed the bid that we received for Weber Road, and we'll be rejecting it at this time due to not being within our budget. We'll reevaluate it next year to see if it will fit
Are
it.
you going to change the specifications any?
From my understanding, we are not going to change the specifications,
Okay.
but we will review it and see what it is. But at this time, we'll.
Okay. All right. Do we need act on this or just request it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's take a motion. Thank you.
I move that we take the, follow the request of the IT to reject the current bid and to be rebid later.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor of rejecting this bid, aye? Aye, thank you. Okay, here you go again, Dwayne. Request to bid all-in-one PCs for commissioner, to be this computer and the other 3 computers in the back.
Correct, yes. We normally do our 50 computers that we upgrade during this time. And so we did plan on buying these 4 computers earlier in the year, but due to COVID and everything, we kind of kept back the expenses to try to save some money. So now we're just asking commission we're gonna go forward with this. The reason why we're bringing this forward is because if we buy all 4 at the same time, it will be over that $6,000 budget. So we are planning on using state bid, and we're just gonna proceed from there.
Okay. Motion.
On the recommendation of IT, I would move that we do a request to bid all-in-one PCs.
And I'd second that motion.
Okay, questions, comments? What are you gonna do with these old ones?
The old ones will go through our normal process. We take out the hard drives, we'll tape them up, save them for a year as per the Secretary of State. That way, if any information needs to be pulled off for any reason, we can pull that. The towers themselves, we usually, it depends on the age, quality, if they're slowed down. If they're pretty much unusable, we will take them over to the MRC and recycle them per standard to make sure that they're taken care of. If they can be reused in any way, we reuse them. In most cases, since we do upgrade our computers every 3 years now, we do take the older ones that aren't up to that standard and just recycle them at this point.
And it's our policy to clean all memory off old computers coming
It is
out.
policy to clean off memory,
All memory's gone.
all memory's gone, because we need to make sure that all personal information does not leave this building. And any public information can be found out through our county clerk or even on our website, so if it needs to be known, we have ways of finding out.
Okay. Did we get a motion? Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, aye? Thank you, Wayne. Okay, deputy pay adjustment presentation, Sheriff?
I voted against that one too. What was it, Ben?
Creating computers.
Yeah. We don't ever want to do that.
Sheriff Dan Ford, I would like to start this out with thanking the Citizens Committee that done all the hard work this past year, especially Deputy Evans. Out and collect a lot of information. I have a proposal here that I will give each of you. This includes the present salary rate for all deputies. That'd be it. On the first column, you'll see where it says current. Next is the proposed rate, which was proposed by the Citizens Committee. And then the third is a rate from the auditor that we've talked extensively with them. They think what we can afford. So, I'll start out by saying I want every penny I can get for my officers so that they can have competitive wages with the surrounding cities, the surrounding counties. We lose and bleed officers every day because they can go to a city or go to one of the surrounding counties and start out making more money than what we can afford to pay them. So, I'd like to put this proposal to you, and I will let the auditor's office at this time give you the ramifications of what this would do to the proposed budget for 2021. I don't know if Amber or Louis wants to give you that information, but I think it's important you have that before you vote on this proposal.
Well, we won't be voting today. We'll be taking this into consideration.
Come on up, Amber. Louis Cyberly, County Auditor, and our Audit Manager, Amber Marjolais. We've spent probably days working on this over the past year. And the current salary for sheriff and jail employees is a little over $3 million. There was a recommendation of salary increases which would have totaled almost $3.7 million. And with negotiations between the sheriff and our office, we've come up with a middle ground of $3.3 million. That represents a difference of our proposal to what the current salary is of about $250,000. Originally, the Sheriff Civilian Committee had suggested a 3-year plan, or had considered a 3-year plan as suggested by Prince and some other deputies. We have suggested or making the recommendation that we do not look at a 3-year increase plan at this point because of the obvious unknown economic conditions. However, for the next year, 2021, we're suggesting $3.3 million, which again is a difference of about $250,000 from the current salary. The proposed recommendation would have been a difference of some $500,000. So we're looking at, from our proposal to what the Civilian Committee suggested, a difference of $390 million less. Go ahead.
Sir, did I understand you're at 390 million?
Yeah.
No, I apologize.
Yeah.
I said that.
I just about thought
The sheriff would certainly appreciate that. So we're looking at $3.3 million, okay? And Amber has further numbers which impacts these numbers.
Amber Mongelay, Auditor's Office. As you all know, we are currently working on the budget for 2021, as per statute it's due to the commission by November 15th. So with the most recent information that we were given by the Treasurer's Office as far as estimated cash balance at the end of the year, to fund fully what the sheriff is requesting would require about $1.5 million to be transferred from general fund to LEST next year. And that also includes $800,000 that's budgeted for this year to be transferred. So with that being said, that's why we looked at the numbers we did, because general revenue did not have the cash availability to fully fund LEST. It would have broke both of us. So what we proposed would be to transfer $800,000 this year to LEST as budgeted.
LEST is law enforcement sales tax.
Correct, and that is where all the commissioned officers are paid out of. With that, it would require, with the numbers we proposed, an additional $960,000 be transferred next year. So that would leave general revenue at the end of 2021 with an estimated cash balance of about $980,000. So if we would have fully funded them, it would have left us with approximately $400,000, which isn't even enough to cover 1 month's expenses of general revenue. So we felt that was a medium ground for both parties involved, and the sheriff was comfortable with the numbers that we had proposed. However, there were some positions that he had requested funding for that they have not been able to fill, that we have, with these numbers, we've removed the budget for that. However, depending on how sales tax goes next year, and if we start receiving federal prisoners and money come in, that could potentially fund additional positions.
Some ifs and buts. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is a presentation, and we're gonna take this, and really the first time I've seen these numbers. And I appreciate that. We will look hard at it, and I think it'll probably be on next week's agenda to operate on it. So.
We're running out of time, not just we, you, everybody, for budgeting for next year. I just wanted to say something about the Citizens Committee. It met, it was functional, it served a good purpose, and it drew a lot of attention to how inadequately we pay our deputy sheriffs. And I'm thankful to be a part of that committee, and I think everybody's going to be better off for it. And we'll just have to shift gears, however we shift gears to finance it. Thank you so much for you guys.
And I also want to express my appreciation to everybody that was involved with that come through.
Now, I do have a question. This unfunded position, does that say anything in there about a maybe possible unemployed county commissioner? Employment or no? Oh, okay. Hey, you can't blame a guy for asking.
I believe it.
This is for qualified, this is for qualified people.
Yeah, well, that knocks on.
Anyway.
Well, if anybody has any questions,
Okay.
we're always open to answer anything in the
Thank you.
auditor's office and be as transparent as possible.
A lot of work has gone into this.
Can't blame you, right?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Amber.
I want to thank the
Thanks.
officers on
I didn't want that
working with
falling out of my
us.
shirt.
Either one of these proposals that we go with will still not put our deputies up with what the surrounding counties and the city of Farmington and the city of Deloach, what they're paying at this point. So we will not be there, but this is a step in the right direction. We hope that you take a close look at this and do this your best. Thank you.
Well, and I intended to say too that the intention is to make this a first step, next step, and the next step to get, or we can't eat this elephant all at once. We'll just have to take it a bite at a time, and hopefully we'll be funded enough to do that too. So,
Okay.
a lot of work. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Budget discussion, Mr. Assessor.
Thank you, Dan Ward, County Assessor. We were given information by the auditor's office that we were going to be short about $88,000 in our budget last week, and Deputy Assessor Woolridge and I started finding things that we would be able to look at, and some of them were the fact that there were some folks going to be retiring.
Excuse me, Dan, you talking about next year's budget?
Next year's budget,
Okay.
for 2021, this is all about 2021. and that some of the employees were gonna be retiring, including the mapper, Danny Edgar, Jane Rasnick will be retiring. Those are pretty much for sure. And we finally got it whittled down to about $14,499.90, which we were looking at the withholding. As folks that may not know, annually a governor has an ability to withhold funds from different departments that they feel is going to be a shortfall on the taxes being paid and the income of the state. And this year the assessors across the state of Missouri were involved in that, with them withholding some of the funding from us to the tune of close to over $12,000, which doesn't seem like a lot when it comes to our budget. We stay pretty close with it. So if that gets released, then we will have that money back. So we were looking at a shortage of $14,499.90. Ms. Woolridge and I were really involved in trying to look at this budget all day yesterday and late into the day, and we discovered something that was omitted, and that was an unfunded liability that's anticipated because of the retirement of Jane Woolridge and Danny Edgar. They would be planning on retiring at the end of August. Danny Edgar and Jane Rasnick, sorry.
Thank you.
And Jane's, and both, she and Danny are anticipating taking their sick leave as pay. And Danny's was $18,711.34. Jane Rasnick was $12,045.01, which came to a total of $30,756.35 that we had to add to this. Now, there was some money coming in from some of the cities that still owe us for the pictometry flyover, so we were able to add as income $3,763.01. But our shortage appears to be with the withholding from the government, the unfunded liability, to a total of $41,493.24, that we would be hopeful that the county commission would allow the assessor's office has after the general revenue.
Auditors, you want to talk about that? What's the process?
Well, the budget is the budget.
Yeah.
You have the final say on it. If you want to remove said monies from general revenue to assist the office over, that's entirely up to you.
So what are the options? What is the downfall of not awarding this? They are limited on their expenditures, right? Okay.
I would like to note that, what he's requesting is in addition to, $285,000 that general revenue already contributes to the assessment fund.
And if I may answer that, with this money, if it is given to the assessor's office, we will do a letter of agreement with you and the state tax commission, because of the fact that state statute requires a 3-year average out of general revenue coming to the assessor's office from the county. We do not anticipate or wish to take that amount of money that you would be giving to us to raise that percentage. We would make sure that that is not counted toward the 3-year average. And we have done that in the past, as you all know, back for sure in 2012. I've got another one here, but we haven't found the actual documentation on it. That in January 17, 2012, we did a memorandum of understanding with Commissioners David Cramp, Patrick Mullins, Brett Burgess, and of course the State Tax Commission, to allow the county to retain $237,041.72 for that year to help with their fact that they were underwater. And we did it one other time. I don't have that amount. I think it was close to 500,000. But anyway, we want to make sure that if you do agree to this, that money that you're agreeing to will not be counted in that 3-year average. And we'll do that letter of stipulation as we did in the past also.
One thing that could be done if the commission chooses is, you could approve that money be transferred, but only as needed. So if these shortfalls don't happen to be as tight as we're thinking, and the money does end up coming in, and the money doesn't need to be transferred, then it wouldn't already be set up to be transferred to the assessor's office. It would be on an as-needed basis.
Now, that's your request to make it
And I don't
available
have
should you need
a,
it.
I don't have a problem with that, as long as we would be able to get the money. If the unfunded liability comes true, we have to pay their sick leave, that's a bunch. The other one was only 14,000, if we get our reimbursement back of 12, we can live with that. We can figure out some way to cover that other $2,000. But you got over 30,000 in sick leave pay, potentially. I mean, with COVID going on, who knows what's gonna happen, they may use a lot of it. But if Euro will give us that, definitely make sure we get that unfunded liability money, I'm okay with that.
Mr. Auditor here, if we can, unfunded liability was an issue with the sheriff's department, comp time, vacation time.
Across the board with every office.
It's in every office. Were we not making an effort to fund those liabilities? Would that be included in what he's talking about now too?
Yes.
Have we had any strides made toward that, or
Again, it's,
it's budgets?
COVID has used up some of the sick time.
Yeah.
Well, so we have 5 different funds that have payroll out of them. General fund covers a lot of the courthouse and the annex payroll. The assessment fund is its own fund with its own payroll. So unless they request that line item be added to their budget, which in the past couple of years it's been a little tight, so they haven't put that line item in there, they would have to budget a line item to cover the overage in payroll when people retire.
So your request is that the commission approve your request to have that funds available during the 2021 budget year?
And
should
yes,
you get it.
and yes, that was included in the letter that we sent to the auditor, unfunded liability, and we had a paragraph in there, stating that the unfunded liability was part of that.
This past year has been an exceptionally heavy year for the assessor's office. Is that part of the shortfall?
We can go back in history, if you got a few minutes, I'd be glad to begin to talk about that. When I came into office, there had been a lawsuit back in the 90s against the State Tax Commission and St. Francis County Assessor's Office. And at the end of it, the state returned quite a bit of money to the assessment fund. And that stayed there and wasn't being used. These were taxpayer dollars. When I came into office, we started seeing upgrades in technology necessary. We started using those funds for that specific purpose. And as the commission knows, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been working with our Vanguard program, bringing all the residential real estate online. And it's been taking a lot of time, and there was quite a bit of initial cost that came out of the assessment fund. So over the years, because of use into the, using taxpayer dollars wisely by upgrading our office, not necessarily hiring more people. We've done more work with less people because of technology, which is fantastic. Because of that, the other issue that is going on with the state cuts on the per parcel count, which was $6 per parcel. It was cut by 50% 4 or 5 years ago. We only get $3, and now we're cut down to $2 and something per parcel over 20,000, and part of that's being withheld by the state. So I've watched that budget change so much from what general revenue was part of a very small amount to being a very essential part of our budget because of the state cutting our funding through that. So we receive money from taxes that are received to the collector. We receive part of that. We receive money from the county commission and general revenue, and our reimbursement with the state is our other major part of our funding coming into our budget. If that's explained, but again, to make it short, we've been using the money to do technology and get things where we're assessing properties correctly in this county, and due to different reasons, those monies have not been building versus coming down.
So that fund being depleted, or pretty much?
It is not depleted because it's part of our annual budget. That money all goes in there for our budget. So we've got money in there, but because of what the state withheld and because of the possible unfunded liability of retirement, we are 41,000 short on our budget, a little over 41,000.
Okay, thank you.
Have a motion?
I move that we approve his request to make that monies available for his budget year 2021, should it be needed.
And I will say.
Question?
What was the exact amount again? I'm sorry.
41 plus.
You wanna go with his? Mine is 41,493.24.
Yeah, and 31,000, that's that unfunded, retirement.
$30,756.35.
And that could change before the end of the year.
It could.
Yeah, okay. I hope they're in good health and that doesn't happen, but it could change.
Yeah, it's almost a year away. So
Any other, almost a year away?
before the, some of the retirements.
Now, those two retire at the end of the year, don't they?
They don't have to. They're retiring August 31st. Is their
Yes.
tentative
Oh, that's
plan.
right.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Okay, that's a good point.
So goes the assessor, so goes some employees.
Yeah. Assessor's office does not work on a calendar year like most of the others' offices. Okay, I'd forgotten that point. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
We will be closed tomorrow, 11/11/11. Back on the job Thursday morning. Next regular meeting will be a week from today. And other business, correspondence? Public comment? Departmental reports? Yes, Larry?
Commissioners, in relation to the CARES funding payments, we have approximately $1.7 million yet to be awarded. $2 million has, $4 million actually has been awarded. $2 million has not been paid out. Now, we don't know if part of that is on the failure of the commission, on the applicants, on Southeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission, but we get daily calls from the applicants wanting to know where their money is. I would just like to stress that it's not our responsibility. We'll try to answer the questions as best as possible, but we are not actually any of the integral part of making that award and the payment. It is very possible that some of these applicants could be receiving their money as late as after next year, depending on if they follow all of the application process and all the necessary information to be submitted. So we just want to remind the applicants and the commission and Southeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission that there is some due diligence that needs to be done because you have less than 7 weeks to get this finished.
The latest report I saw, which was yesterday, there's 188,000 that's not committed yet to the final. I mean, we have, I think, 1.5 million now in limbo that probably will approve maybe next week. And then after that, there's 188,000 that's not committed in some way. So we're getting down to the end of it.
The biggest point is that people are wanting to know where their checks are.
Yeah.
And we just cannot provide that information until it comes through you and SEMO Regional Planning and the applicant gets all of their paperwork perfected.
Because there's more than a few that either have incomplete information or questionable, and everything's on hold until they get that lined up.
Well, they can't call us. I
Right.
mean, they can call us, but we can't help them.
Yeah, that'd really be a regional planning commission question.
Well, if regional planning can't handle it, then we need to do something very quickly.
You have to say, we ain't got much time to change something.
Okay, we're in process. Thank you. Clay, did you say something?
Yeah, I'd just like to report the tire cleanup at the road and bridge through the county commission participated in last week. Was a huge success. Everything went well. We now have a mountain of tires there at the road and bridge facility. If you drive by, you'll be able to see them. The tire cleanup is over. We're not accepting any more tires, but over the next few weeks, maybe even months, we will be hauling these up to a shredder up in High Ridge at our leisure. But everything went well. I'm guessing we have 8,000 tires. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's bigger than this pile right now.
Yeah, that was,
Currently,
yeah.
it's bigger than that.
But it is over, we're done. The tires that we have, that's it. But it went very well, and it was a huge advantage to St. Francis County to be able to participate in this.
Thank you. Sales tax is up again. It was 8.34, I believe, or 8.37, I believe, last month. And at this late in the year, it takes quite a few dollars to change that percentage. So sales taxes are going well for us, so we appreciate that.
That's good for this year. Next year, everything will be lower, probably. Well, maybe not.
There you go, Mr. Downer, okay.
I'm just rounding it out, yeah.
This was a friend of mine. And, well, there it is. Good man.
Hal Lowry was a member of 3 halls of fame.
Bismarck.
Middle Area College, Bismarck, and Murray State,
Yeah.
Kentucky College. And was a mentor and friend to a variety of students, not just male, but female as well,
Yep.
in helping direct their education, not only through high school, but through college. He was a terrific
He was
guy.
my high school coach, and I know this is gonna shock a lot of people, but I was never considered a draft pick for any professional team. But Hal was the coach. And for some reason on a basketball scrimmage one day, I was supposed to guard the biggest kid we had, the best player. I couldn't even see his belly button. And so coach called me off the side. He said, I got some advice for you. He said, when you see him going up for the rebound, you don't jump, hold the bottom of his shorts. He said, I checked. He said, no one has ever rebounded a ball that's just jumped out of his shorts. I didn't try it because I knew I wouldn't live past the day. But, and another time, Stanley Dunlap and I were pushing each other around on the basketball floor. Coach came on, what's the matter, boys? Stanley pointed at me and said, he called me a name. And Coach looked at me and he said, you called him a name? I said, yeah. He said, why'd you call him? I said, honky. He said, well, what does that mean? I said, I don't know, it just came to me. So the coach made Stanley and I, the rest of the gym period, walk around the gym holding hands and discussing the adverse effect of calling each other names. Stanley died a few years ago and we were friends, but we never shook hands after that. I never shook Stanley's hand after that time. But that's the way Coach did things. And great man, good guy. And he's Jared's grandpa.
I move the adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye? Thank you.